In this Microsoft Excel Dashboards course, you'll learn how to transform raw data into insightful interactive visualizations. This course will walk you through designing dynamic charts and building professional dashboards that enhance data storytelling. With hands-on exercises, you'll master the tools and techniques needed to create compelling data visualizations in Excel, and you'll be equipped to present data in a way that drives informed decision-making. Me here from Office Tech Skill developed this course.
Struggling to find the perfect chart to represent your data? Let's unlock the secret of Excel charts together. Today, I'll walk you through the various chart types available in Excel and how to use the right one for your data. Hi, I'm Meet Kamdar, your tutor at OfficeTechSkill.com, where we specialize in helping professionals upgrade their tech skills to enhance productivity and efficiency in the workplace. Let's discuss various chart types that you can implement within Excel. The topics we are going to cover in this section include column chart, bar chart, line chart, pie donut chart, XY scatter plot chart, area chart, radar chart, stock chart, histogram chart, Pareto chart, waterfall chart, box and whisker chart, Treemap chart, map chart, recommended chart. Now let's discuss what is a column chart. Column charts are drawn with the rectangular bars of various lengths representing different values. There are different types of column charts such as cluster chart, stack column chart, and 100% stack column chart. Cluster column charts use color to differentiate the column, whereas the stack column chart use varying thickness or colors for each column. Column charts are an effective means of displaying data variation over a period or comparing various elements. Typically, the categories are placed on one axis and the value on another, allowing for clear visualization of changes or updates with each comparison point in the narrative. So currently we have a data set which has sales by month for two products, which is product 1 and product 2. So column chart is an excellent candidate for this kind of data set. We'll select first the data set, press Ctrl A. We'll go to insert, we'll go to recommended charts. We'll go to all charts, we'll go to column, and then we can select a cluster column chart. Now we can add the chart and axis title. So the chart title is already there. Now we can add the axis title as well. Expand the chart. So we can add the chart title as product 1 versus product 2 sales. The y-axis is sales and x-axis is the month. Now we can change the color of the bars. So for product 1, we can just select the blue bar and now change the color. Right mouse click on the bar and change this to red. Same thing with the orange bar. Right mouse click on it and change the color to gray. Your column chart is ready. If you want to change the chart type, you can go to the chart design tab, then select change chart type. So if you want to change from cluster column to stack column, you can simply click on this and press OK. Or you can change it to some other style that you prefer. Now let's try to understand bar chart. Bar chart is drawn with rectangular bars of various lengths representing different values. It is often used to compare two or more discrete values. The size of the rectangle relates to the magnitude of the value it represents, so the taller indicates the greater value than shorter ones. There are different types of bar chart, such as cluster, stacked, 100% stacked bar charts. Bar charts use color to differentiate the bars, whereas the stacked bar charts use varying thickness or colors for each bar. Now let's go back to the Excel. Go to the bar chart tab. Over here, we again have the same data, which is data for sales by month for product 1 and product 2. Now we can use this data set to create a bar chart. So select the data, click on insert, go to recommended charts, go to all charts, click on bar, and then select cluster bar chart. Go to the plus sign, add the axis title, and now you can change the name from chart title to product 1 versus product 2, sales. The access title is going to be month. And the access title will be sales. Now we can change the color of the bar. Right mouse click on the blue bar, go to fill, and we can change that to gray. And right click on the orange bar, select fill, and we can change that to red. Your cluster bar chart is ready. Now, if you want to change from cluster bar to stack bar chart, you can just go to the chart design, go to change chart type, and then you can select stack bar, or you can select 100% stack bar, depending on whatever your preference is. Press OK. As you see, now the chart type is changed. Now let's try to understand what is line chart. Line chart is a type of chart that displays information as a series of data points. It is also known as time series chart. Line charts are a type of chart that expresses information as a series of data points. Line charts are good for showing how something has changed or comparing two different things. There are different types of line charts such as line, stacked, 100% stacked, line with markers, stacked line with markers, and 100% stacked line with markers chart. Now let's go back to the Excel. Go to the line chart tab. Again, we have the same data by month, product sales for product 1 and product 2. Now we will select this data set and create a line chart. Go to recommended charts, go to all charts, go to line, and we'll select line chart. Press OK. And now we'll go to the plus sign, add the access title. We'll change the title for y-axis to sales and change the title for x-axis to month, and we'll change the color of the line. First, we'll add the chart title. So we'll make it product 1 versus product 2. Sales. So we'll go to line 1 or product 1. Go to the product 2 line, right mouse click, and go to outline and select gray color. Go to the blue line, right mouse click, go to the outline tab and select red. And now your line chart is ready. This is a simple line chart. Now let's try to understand pie donut chart. Pie donut chart are typically used to show the proportional contribution of each component to an overall chart. The pie chart is a variation of circle graph or pie graph, also known as circle chart, where each slice is drawn as a circle segment based on the angle swept out of its radius to the center point. Pie charts are used in finance and statistical field. Certain types of reports such as progress report, graphic displays with limited space for text. They are often thought to be difficult to read by humans because our eyes do not naturally follow an arc. Still, they can be read more effectively if labeled with their respective values. Let's go back to the Excel, go to the pie chart tab, and now we'll insert a pie chart. Press Ctrl A, go to insert, select recommended charts, go to all charts, go to pie, click on the pie chart, press OK. As you see, the pie chart is created. Now we can add data labels to understand what is the revenue for each pie. Now we can also create a donut chart. So you can just copy this chart and paste right next to it. Go to chart design, go to change chart type, and you can select donut chart. Press OK. Now let's try to understand XY scatter plot chart. The scatter plot chart is a graph that shows an association between two variables. For example, when the graph is called an XY chart, you can see the relationship between two variables on one graph. When one variable can be plotted on the x-axis, the other one can be plotted on y-axis. The scatter plot can show whether there is a correlation between two variables. It also shows how strong the correlation might be, making it easier for readers to understand what they're looking at. So let's go to Excel, go to XY chart. And now we'll use the same data set, which is sales by month for product 1 and product 2. Press Ctrl A, go to insert, click on recommended charts, go to all charts, go to XY scatter plot chart, and then select scatter with smooth lines and markers. Press OK. Insert the title, access title, Provide the chart name to product 1 versus product 2, sales, title for y-axis, title for x-axis month. Your chart is ready. Now you can experiment with other XY charts by creating a duplicate chart. So we'll create a duplicate chart. We'll go to chart design, change chart type, and then you can select any chart you want for XY. We'll select this chart, for example. And now you can compare between two charts and see which one works best for you. Now let's try to understand area chart. An area chart is created by plotting the data on vertical y-axis and the category on the horizontal x-axis. The total area under each graph can be calculated by adding up all the areas under each rectangle stacked above each other. The height of each rectangle corresponds to each relative value or frequency about different rectangles or bars stacked below it. It is a graphical depiction on the number of frequency of observation in different categories. Let's go to the spreadsheet. Go to the area chart tab. Now we'll create a area chart for this data set. So select Ctrl A, go to Insert, go to Recommended Charts, go to All Charts, go under Area, and then select this chart. Press OK, click on the plus sign and add the axis title. Provide the title name as Product 1 versus Product 2, Sales. The y-axis will be sales and the x-axis is going to be the month. Now, if you want to look at other area charts, you can just simply copy and paste right next to it. Now you can change the chart style. So click on this chart, go to chart design, go to change chart type. And now you can select any chart you want. So if I want to select stacked area chart, press OK. Now you can compare and see which one suits your need. Now let's try to understand radar chart. Radar chart diagram can simultaneously visualize 3 or more data sets. It is typically used to compare qualitative data, but also can be used for quantitative data. The radar chart may seem intimidating, but it is straightforward to use. So this chart is helpful when you have multiple time series or different dimensions on the same chart. So let's go back to the Excel, go to the radar chart tab. So now we have the sales for 3 products by month. Select all the data, go to Insert, go to Recommended Charts, go to All Charts, go to Radar and click on OK. Now you can add the title as Product Comparison Sales. You can expand the chart to make it more visible. You can create a duplicate chart and select other radar chart. See a side-by-side comparison of which chart suits better. So select the duplicate chart, go to chart design, go to change chart type. You can select this chart or you can select radar with markers. Press OK. Now let's try to understand the stock chart. Stock chart is a visual representation of historical data. It helps to quickly overview of what has happened and identify patterns and trends. Stock charts are handy for investors who want to know how their assets perform. They can help them make better financial decisions and react quickly when the market shifts. When to use a stock chart in Excel? There are various reasons to utilize a stock chart in Excel, such as tracking the performance of investment, the stock market, identifying trend lines, and determine support and resistance level. Using the stock chart can aid in making informed decisions. Now let's go to the Excel. Go to the stock chart tab. Now we have a data of a particular stock which has price point when the market was open, the highest value of the day, the lowest value of the day, closing value of the day, and the adjusted closing value of the day. Also, we have the volume and we have the data by dates. Now we want to create a stock chart which has a value of high, low, and close, and we want to see it by date. So we'll select these 4 columns. So it's going to be date, high, low, and close. So now go to recommended charts. Go to all charts, go to stock, press OK. You can change the chart title to high, low, close. You can include the axis title. So this is going to be price on the y-axis. And on the x-axis is going to be the date. You can change the chart style by clicking on the chart, go to chart design, and you can select style to as an option. You can add a line for high and low to see how the trend changes over day. So click on the top part of the line and then go to line. Then you can select a solid line. We can change the color to gray. Go to the bottom part, select the bottom part, which is now you want to add a line for low. Select solid line and then select yellow. As you see, now it has a gray line for high and yellow line for low. And the circle represents the closing price of the stock. Now let's try to understand the histogram chart. The histogram chart is a graphical representation of the breakdowns of the data set into different categories. A histogram chart is a graph that displays the frequency distribution of data typically split into categories. So for example, it can show how different sets are distributed in frequency. Let's go back to Excel. Go to the histogram chart tab. We have the data by customer and by profit. So now we can use a histogram in order to put the profit into different buckets because it's a range. So it can put into different buckets. We can group the customer into that bucket. So select the data set, go to insert, go to recommended charts, go to all charts, go to histogram and press OK. As you see, Excel has automatically created the grouping. We can add the chart title as customer, profit, range. You can also add the data labels. Click on the chart, go to plus sign, and then add data labels. So currently, now the range is not visible, so you can just expand the chart. So you can see the highest and the lowest value. Currently, there are 6 bins. Now you can customize the bins. You can select the lowest and the highest value based on your need. So if you click on the values on the x-axis, you have the option to select the bin. So there are 6 categories broken into 280,000. So you can change this to 300,000 and then press OK. It has changed the range from 0 to 300,000. You can provide the bin width, or also you can provide the number of bins and it will calculate and select the range. So press enter. And now you see there are 5 bins instead of 6. So you can customize based on your need. Let's try to understand what is a Pareto chart. Pareto chart is a graphical representation of the 80-20 principle. It plots a cumulative percentage of events or outcomes found on vertical axis and the frequency or rate of these events on a horizontal axis. A Pareto chart is a great way to understand what matters most in a given category. It is easy to understand chart that people can use to identify and prioritize their efforts or decide what they want to focus on to achieve better results. It helps to determine where to put most of your time and resources by looking at the top priorities. We have data by region with total transaction. So now we'll use Pareto chart to understand which region has the highest transaction. So select the data, go to insert, go to recommended charts, go to all charts, go to histogram, and then select Pareto chart. Click OK. You can expand the chart and provide the chart name as transaction count by region. As you see, Europe has the highest transaction. So this will tell a user that they need to place more emphasis on Europe and Sub-Saharan Africa since they both have the highest transactions. Now let's try to understand what is waterfall chart. Waterfall chart is a type of chart that shows how various levels of one or more variables stack up against each other. It is also known as hierarchical bar graph because it depicts the data in water form or hierarchical form. Shareholding companies typically use waterfall charts to direct cash flow during a financial year. The chart is divided into months, with each waterfall chart showing the available funds for that month. Now let's go to Excel and implement this chart. Go to the Waterfall Chart tab. The data set shows the date and the daily profit. So now I'll use Waterfall Chart to understand this data. So select the data, go to Insert, go to Recommended Charts, go to Waterfall, click OK. The chart is created. Now we can change the chart title to Daily Profit. So click on the legend for increase. Go to the color icon and change from solid. Go to solid and now change it to green. Click on the decrease legend. Go to the color icon. Go to solid fill and change it to red. The bars are more visible and you can see where the profit has increased or decreased based on the date. Let's try to understand box and whisker chart. Box and whisker chart represents the data distribution. The vertical line above and below boxes represents the maximum and the minimum value. The box shows the value between the 25th through 75th percentile, and the horizontal line represents the 50th percentile. And now we will create a box and whisker chart based on this data set. So click on Insert, go to Recommended Charts, go to All Charts, select Box and Whiskers, click OK. And now you see the chart is created. We can add the title as Transaction by Region. And we can also add the axis title. Select the plus sign, take a mark on the axis title. The y-axis will be called Transaction. The x-axis will be called Region. We can change the color of the bars, make it yellow so it's more visible. We can also select more data label options. Go to the number dropdown and go to General and select number. You can reduce the decimal to 0. And as you see, the decimals are removed. The minimum value, maximum value, the median, the 25th percentile and the 75th percentile, and also the 50th percentile. I can expand the chart to make the data more visible and the data labels. As you see now, after expanding the chart, the data looks more visible. The line on the bottom shows the minimum value. The line on the top shows the maximum value. 57 is the 25th percentile. X is the average. 78 is the median, 50th percentile. And 90 is the 75th percentile. Let's try to understand the Treemap chart. A Treemap chart is a way to visualize the hierarchy. For example, it is often used to display the proportion of different values in a dataset. Treemap can be drawn as squares or rectangles and nested within one another to provide greater detail, i.e., more extensive and smaller rectangles can be drawn inside one another. So when to use a Treemap chart? Treemap provides a quick and easy way to summarize large amounts of hierarchical data. When plotting nodes, the dimensions are configured based on numerical values assigned per node. This makes identifying trends between all categories much more straightforward in comparing one type with another or even among different groups within the same leaf branch hierarchy. Now let's go to the Excel file. Over here we have 3 columns. This is essentially a hierarchical data. The first level is the region, the second level is the country, and we want to find out the revenue for each country. So select all the data, click on Insert, go to Recommended Charts, go to All Charts, go to Treemap, click on the Treemap, press OK. The Treemap chart is created. You can expand the chart. Now we can add the title, Sales by Country. And we can move the legend to bottom. Now the chart is more visible. The data is broken by region. So the yellow one is Europe. The navy blue is Sub-Saharan Africa. The light blue is Middle East and North Africa. The gray is Central America and Caribbean. And then the boxes are divided based on the value of the sales. So in Europe, Serbia has the highest sales. In Sub-Saharan Africa, Benin has the highest sales. In Middle East and North Africa, Libya has the highest sales. So anyone looking at this Treemap chart can easily figure it out, which region and which country has the highest sales. Let's understand map chart. Map charts are a visual representation of data in a geographical context. They help display data comparison between the region and distribution points across the globe. Map chart provides visual representation of data on geographic regions that are challenging to understand with table formats. Map charts can show anything from demographics, comparative statistics, or any other data type that would be difficult to see in a table form. Map charts are also accessible for use to read and understand because they give clear and concise information. And now select the data. We have the same data from the Treemap chart, which is region, country, and revenue. Select all the data. Go to Insert. Go to Recommended Charts. Go to All Charts. Select Map. And now press OK. And now you can see the revenue by country. Let me expand the chart. The country with the darkest color has the highest sale, and the country with the lightest color has the lowest sales. So now we can change the title to Sales by Country. And we'll change the color. Go to the brush sign and then select color. And then you can select this color palette. You can also add the data labels. So that would provide you with the values. Now let's try to understand recommended charts. The recommended charts feature in Excel is a function that allows user to automatically generate additional types of chart that are not available in the ribbon. Three things can cause a chart to be generated: user selected data, data from external source, dynamic data, meaning there is no need for user intervention. This feature generates and displays a list of recommended charts and graph. Based on your data selection, the list is displayed under Insert, Recommended Charts. So now let's go to the Excel file and now select the data again. Go to Insert, go to Recommended Charts, and over here you get a list of recommended chart that Excel provides you. And you can select any one of these charts based on your requirement. So there you have it, a comprehensive tutorial on mastering Excel chart types. Now I'm going to show you how to customize your Excel chart to make them look professional and impactful. You can download the file from the description. The topics we are going to cover in this video: we'll start with organizing your data. Next, we'll select the best chart type. Then we'll apply chart styles and template. Then we can adjust the chart elements and the labels. We can use data labels and gridlines to enhance your chart. We'll apply color themes and palettes. We'll discuss how you can utilize combination chart and secondary access. We'll show where you can incorporate trend lines. We'll discuss different chart elements that you can apply. And finally, we'll go through some best practices for chart customization. So before diving into customization, it's essential to understand that you need to organize your data. So go back to Excel. First, we want to ensure your data is organized in a tabular format. You have the column headers on the top, and there are no blank rows or columns in your data set. To make your data easier to reference when creating and updating charts, you can put this data into a name range. So we'll just select this data from A1 through C13. We'll go to the Formula tab and then click on Define Name Range. And in our case, the range is already created. So if I select Edit, you can provide a name range. So you can name it as sales data and click OK. So anytime now you want to refer to the data, you can just use the name, which is sales data. Now we want to choose the best chart type for this data. So go to Insert. In our case, we'll select a column chart because this data type is better suited to show in a column chart. So I'll just select a cluster column chart because we want to compare two different products side by side. Now we want to apply some chart styles. And also we can discuss some templates that you can use. So if you click on the chart, you can go to the chart design tab. And over here you have options to select any of the chart style. I'll just keep it default. Next, we'll adjust some chart elements and labels. So if you click on this plus sign, you can click on axis style. You can change the legend on the top, make it on the top. You can remove the grid lines. And now we can also change the name of the chart. So we'll make it as monthly sales product 1 versus product 2. This is called revenue, and this is called month. Now you can enhance the chart look by adding the data labels or data tables and grid lines. So if I click on the chart again, if I click on data labels, you will see the data or you will see the value for each and every bar, but then you will have to expand the chart. Or you can use data table instead of labels. You can select data table and this will show all the values on the bottom. So it's more organized and clean. You can also add a grid line so you know exactly, it becomes easier to analyze. You can apply color theme and palettes. So Excel has already a lot of pre-built colors and palettes that you can utilize. So if you click on the plus sign or click on the brush icon, you can select go to color and then you can select any of the color palettes that you like. You can also go to chart design and select it from there, and you can select from here as well. It's one the same thing, just different ways of accessing. Let's say if I don't like the color that's being displayed or shown in the color palette, you can also manually change it by clicking on the bar, and this will select all the bars, and then you can go to home, and then you can just simply choose the color of your choice. So I'll select black, and I'll select the other one as orange or make it gray. We can also implement some advanced techniques. We can use combination charts and secondary axis to look at the same data in a different way. So you can click on this chart, go to change chart or go to chart design, select change chart type. You can make this combo, and over here you can select that you want the product 1 to be a column and product 2 be as shown as line. So this is how your data will show. So click OK. And as you see, you can add secondary axis. Your secondary axis is showing here, which is product 2. You can change the color by simply clicking on the bar, and you can also change the color of the line. You can go to format, go to shape outline, and then select any color of your choice. You can also incorporate trend line if you want to see how the data is trending over a particular period of time. So let's say if you want to find out what's the trend for product 1, you can just simply click on the plus sign, click on the trend line, and this will give you the option if you want to see the trend line for product 1 or product 2. So I'll select product 1. And as you see, the trend line is slightly increasing. It's more or less the same. If you want to change some formatting of the trend line, you can right mouse click on the trend line and click on format trend line. And you will see this dialog box will open up. Currently it's showing linear trend line. You can change it to exponential, logarithmic, polynomial, power. So depending on your choice, I'll stick to linear. You can apply additional chart elements, or you can customize the chart elements by just simply clicking on the chart, go to chart design, and then go to the drop down of the chart elements. And over here, you have more options based on any changes you want to make. To ensure your customized charts are effective and professional, you can follow some of these best practices for customization. First, you want to prioritize clarity and simplicity by removing unnecessary chart elements such as redundant label, and you want to focus on the key message that you want to convey. Next, you want to use clear and concise style for your chart and also for your axis, so the person who's looking at your chart can easily understand the context of your data. Next, you want to choose the appropriate chart type and data ranges that accurately represents your data and insight. Avoiding distorting or misrepresenting data by using misleading chart types or scale can send the wrong message to the person who's looking at your chart. Consider your target audience and tailor your chart design and formatting. Use colors, fonts, styles that are easy to read and interpret. Now, I'm going to show you how to create an engaging and effective Excel dashboard, a crucial skill for any data-driven professional. So you will be building this dashboard as you see in the screen. This is a very fast-paced video where I won't go into the nuts and bolts of each and every detail. I'm just going to show you how to build this dashboard from scratch. You can download the file from the description. The topics we are going to cover in this video will start off with understanding interactive Excel dashboard. Then we'll plan for your Excel dashboard. Then we'll collect and prepare your data. We'll create a pivot table for data analysis. We'll visualize the data through charts and graphs. We'll increase the interactivity with Excel features. And we'll finally assemble all the components into a dashboard. Interactive dashboards in Excel are a type of dashboard that allows you to track and measure key performance indicators and metrics. They provide visual representation of complex data, making it easier to understand and analyze. With interactive dashboards, you can change data inputs, filter data, drill down into specific details to gain insight and make data-driven decisions. Next, we need to plan your Excel dashboard. Before creating an Excel dashboard, it's essential to understand the needs and expectation of your target audience. Consider who will be using the dashboard and what information they need to make informed decisions. Clearly define the objectives of your dashboard and ensure they align with your organization's goal. For this tutorial, we'll create a revenue dashboard with a small e-commerce business focusing on key metrics like revenue order, customer acquisition. The target audience with this dashboard will be sales and marketing team, who will use the insight to optimize the product performance, customer acquisition strategy, and overall business growth. In this tutorial, you will use a zip file that contains data related to yearly sales data, customer, item type, location, order priority, and sales channel. You will see all this data in a zip folder. Now let us clean and organize the data. So open a blank Excel workbook, go to data, click on get data, click on from file, click on Excel workbook, click on the zip folder where you've extracted the data, and then select 2014 sales data. Let's select the 2014 sales data. Click on import. and you will see a dialog box. Click on sheet 1, click on transform data, and now your Power Query dialog box will open up. Our Power Query editor will open up. Now we'll just rename this to 2014 sales data. So right mouse click, click on rename, and we'll rename this to 2014 sales data. Click on close and load to, and then select only create connection. Now we'll repeat the same process for each Excel file. So go to get data from file from Excel workbook. Click on 2015 sales data. Click on import. Now the dialog box will show up. Click on sheet 1. Click on transform data. This will load the data into Power Query editor. And now we'll rename this as 2015 sales data. Again, select close and load to. Only create connection. Click OK. Now go to get data from file from Excel workbook. Now 2016 import. Click on sheet 1. Transform data. Now the data will load into Power Query editor. Rename this file 2016 sales data. Select close and load to. Select only create connection. From file from Excel workbook 2017 sales data. Import. Click on sheet 1. Transform data. Rename this to 2017 sales data. Select close and load to. Only create connection. Click OK. Click on get data from file from Excel workbook 2018 sales data. Click on import. Click on sheet 1. Transform data. Rename this to 2018 sales data. Select close and load to. Only create connection. Click OK. Click on get data from file from Excel workbook from 2019 sales data. Click import. Click on sheet 1. Transform data. Rename this 2019 sales data. Select close and load to. Click only create connection. Get data from Excel workbook. Click on 2020 sales data. Import. Click on sheet 1. Select transform data. Rename this to 2020 sales data. Click on close and load to. Click on only create connection. Again, get data from file Excel workbook. Now click on 2021 sales data, import. Click on sheet 1, transform data. Rename this. Make it 2021 sales data. Click on close and load to. Now all your sales data are loaded for each and every year. Now we'll do the same thing for other Excel files. So go to get data from file from Excel workbook. Click on customer. Click on sheet 1. Click on transform data. And we'll call this as dim customer. Dim is dimension. I'll explain the concept of dim and fact once we import all the data into the Power Query. So now let us go back to data. Click on get data from file from Excel workbook. Let us import item type. Click import. Click on sheet 1, transform data. Rename this to dim item type. Select close and load to. Select only create connection. Click OK. Click on get data from file from Excel workbook. Click on location, import. Click on sheet 1. Click on transform data. Rename this to dim location. Click on close and load to. Select only create connection. Click OK. Go to get data from Excel workbook. Select order priority. Click import. Click on sheet 1. Click on transform data. Rename this to dim order priority. Select close and load to. Click on only create connection. OK. Click on get data from file Excel workbook and select sales channel. Import. Rename this to dim. Or click on sheet 1. Click on transform data. Rename this to dim sales channel. Click on close and load to. Select only create connection. Click OK. Now let us append all this data into a single Power Query where we'll combine the data from 2014 all the way to 2021. Go to get data. Go to launch Power Query editor. So click on 2014 sales data query. Click on append query. Click on append query as new. And now we'll select all the queries. So go to 3 or more tables and we'll select 2015 through 2021. Click on add. Click OK. Now this has appended all the data from all these queries into a single query. So we'll rename this, call it fact sales transaction. Now we want to filter out certain columns. So we'll go to choose columns. Click on choose columns. Let us remove all the duplicates. So just select all the data by pressing Ctrl A, right mouse click and click on remove duplicates. Now we can load all this data into a data model. So right mouse click on dim customer, click on load to, and then select add this to the data model, click OK. And now the data is loaded. Do the same thing for item type, load to, add this to the data model, click OK. Same thing over here. Same thing for order priority as well. Click on load to, add this to the data model, click OK. Same thing over here. And also you want to load this, the fact sales transaction into the data model. So click on load to, add this to the data model. Now we'll create a pivot table for data analysis. Pivot tables are a powerful tool for data analysis in Excel that allows you to summarize reports and analyze large amounts of data. This enables you to organize, manipulate, visualize your data in a pivot table format. So now first we'll build the data model and write DAX, and then we'll build a pivot table. So let us go back to Excel. First, you want to make sure that your Power Pivot tab is enabled. So you can do that by simply clicking on File, Options, click on Add-ins, and then select COM Add-ins. From the dropdown, click on Go. And you will see the Power Pivot option if it's enabled or disabled. So you can just enable it and click OK. And then you should see it on the ribbon on the top. So now we'll first create relationships between these tables. So you can go to the diagram view. And over here, you will see all the tables that we loaded from Power Query to the data model. So we'll keep the fact table in the middle and all the other tables right next to each other or surrounding the fact table. So now we'll build relationships between the fact table and the dimension table. Whereas in fact table, it stores the measurement metrics or facts related to the business operation. So for example, over here, we see the details related to sales transactions such as unit sold, unit price, unit cost, total revenue, total cost, total profit, star schema, which is what we call this as star schema, where the fact table is in the middle and all the dimensions are surrounding the fact table. And the dimension table contains the description of the objects that are in the fact table. It provides information about dimensions such as value, characteristics, keys. So for example, if we connect the customer ID from the fact table to the dimension table, now it has created a relationship when I drag this. So if I want to pull any information about a particular customer, I can look at their ID on the fact table, and then I can find out their email address, their job title, and their first name and last name. So this ID, customer ID, is the bridge between the fact table and the dimension table. So for example, if I want to find out like how many people with this job title purchased a particular product. So this is where the customer ID will help to identify, help to connect I can simply do a count of customer ID and in the pivot table, which will give me the breakdown of count by each job title. And this is where customer ID will bridge the connection. The customer ID is the primary key, which is unique to each record. So you will not find the same customer ID twice in the dim customer table. Each row will be unique. Now let us create the relationship between all these tables. So I'll drag the item type with the item type ID in the dimensions type table. Do the same for location ID. I'll do the same for order priority and do the same for sales channel ID. Now this is what we call the star schema because it looks in a shape of a star where the fact table is in the middle and the dimension tables are surrounding it. So the fact table in the middle helps us to measure different KPIs and help us visualize different charts. And the dimension table helps us to look at the data from different angles. So for example, if I want to look at what are the different order priorities, so I want a count of different order priorities. I can use the order priority column in the dim order priority table, and then I can get a count of the transaction ID. So this will break down the total number of order priorities by different account of total order priorities by different order priority category. And the same thing with region. So if I want to find out what is the total revenue across different countries, I can use the location ID to find out exactly to get a sum of the total revenue across different countries. As we move on to the next section of writing DAX and doing pivot table, you will understand the concept of how these tables are linked together and how it helps in terms of generating a pivot table. Go to the data view and go to fact sales transaction. And over here, we want to get the total revenue. So we'll write the DAX code. This is the place where you can write the DAX code. So click anywhere in any of the cell. And over here, we'll type in revenue, colon, and we'll type in a sum and type in total revenue. You need a equal to after the colon. Click on the tick mark. And as you see, the calculation has generated a total revenue. So we can format this. We can add the dollar sign and we can remove the decimal. So this was one of the KPIs. Now we'll write the code for the next KPI, which is number of orders. So we'll write over here. I'll call this as number of orders, colon, equal to. And the formula for this is count transaction ID. So DAX will automatically create intelligence, which will give you a suggestions of all the fields that you can choose from. Click on the tick mark. And if you expand this, you will see the value. I'll just provide 1000 separator and remove the decimal. And now I'll add the third formula, which is average revenue per order. So I'll type in average revenue per order. And the formula for that is going to be divide revenue. So it's this DAX formula divided by this. So that's how we'll get the average average revenue per order. So revenue, and then we'll get the number of orders. Close the bracket, click on the tick mark. And as you see, the value is generated. Now let us assign a dollar sign, remove the decimal. Now we'll generate the pivot table directly from the data model or from the Power Pivot editor. The good thing about writing the DAX code is you don't need to format every time in the pivot table in the values section. And the good thing is you can use this measure anywhere in the pivot table. Once we have created the relationship in the diagram view, you can use this measure across different tables. Now let us go through the steps of creating the pivot table. So go to pivot table and then select pivot table. And this will give you the option to select new or existing worksheet. I'll select existing worksheet and the range for this is going to be cell A1. Click on OK. Click OK. And now we will create 3 different KPIs or a pivot table for all the KPIs. So if you open fact sales transaction, just drag all the KPIs into the values. Now for our e-commerce sales dashboard, let us create pivot table summarizing revenue by sales channel. So again, go back to the data model or click on manage. Click on pivot table, again pivot table, click on existing worksheet, go to cell E1, click OK, click OK. And you will see the dim sales channel. So put this in the rows and then you can add the revenue in the values. So as you see, these are two different tables. We are getting sales channel from the dim sales channel table, and we are getting the revenue, which is stored in the fact sales transaction table. And as you see, it has created the pivot table. The reason is because we have created the relationship. If we go to manage, and as you see, there is a relationship between the sales channel ID in the dimension table and the sales channel ID in the fact table, which is here. And that's what I was talking to you about. Once you create the relationship, you can mix and match data from different tables in a single pivot table. And as you will see, you will use this revenue measure across other pivot tables as well. So you can reuse this measure again and again. So now click on pivot table again. Now I'll create a third pivot table, which is the revenue by item type. So click on existing worksheet, put this in cell A4, click OK, and click on dim item type in the rows and revenue in the values. Again, as you see, we are using two different fields from two different tables. That's because of the relationship that we've created. And also the measure has been reused in this table, in this pivot table, and also in this pivot table. So that's the beauty about Power Pivot, where you can create relationships, where you can write DAX, where you can reuse these measures again and again. So let us go back to manage. Again, go to pivot table, click on existing worksheet, go to cell H1, click on OK, click OK. And now we need the revenue by order priority. So click on order priority, drag order priority in rows, and we'll get the revenue in the values field. So now let us change the labels. So over here, we'll make this as sales channel. We'll remove the grand total. So go to design and off for rows and columns. Again, we'll make this as order priority and remove the grand total. Again, we'll do the same for item type and remove the grand total. Design off for rows and columns. Next is we want to visualize the data using charts and graphs. Visualization is the key important component for creating an interactive Excel dashboard. Charts and graphs provide a visual representation of the data, making it easier to understand and to analyze trends, patterns, and relationships. Selecting the appropriate chart type is crucial for effective communication. Communicating your data insight. Different chart types are suited for different purpose and data structures. Some common chart types and their uses include a column and a bar chart, which compares values across categories or shows trends over time. Line chart displays continuous data or shows changes over time. Pie chart shows the composition of proportion of the whole. The scatter plot chart visualizes relationship between two variables, and the area chart demonstrates the magnitude of change over time or across categories. For our e-commerce sales dashboard, we'll create a pie chart showing revenue by sales. This will help us to identify click on the channel table, which is sales channel. Click on insert. Click on pivot chart. And click on pie. Click OK. And this will generate your pie chart. Now let us create another chart for our sales dashboard. Now we want to create a column chart to show the revenue by order priority. This will help us to identify which order priority is performing better. So click on the order priority, click on insert, click on pivot charts, and then select the cluster column, click OK. And your cluster column chart is ready. In next chart we need is the bar chart showing the revenue of item type. This will help us to identify which item type is performing better. So click on the pivot table, click on insert, click on pivot chart again, click on bar, click on OK. Now we want to customize the chart elements for maximum impact. First, we'll add the descriptive titles and axis label. Next, we'll adjust the chart colors and style. Then we'll add data labels. Then we'll customize the chart layout and the background. So click on the pivot table. First, we will hide all the field buttons. And then we'll click on the plus sign. We'll make sure all these are enabled. We'll rename the chart title to sales channel distribution. And instead of the revenue, we want this to be a percentage. We'll click on the label options, and instead of value, we'll select the percentage. Same thing for this one. Instead of value, we'll select this as percentage. And in the number, we'll select this as percentage, and there will be 2 decimal. And now we'll also change the color. So for online, we'll select this as yellow. So click on the legend, click on home, and then click on more colors, click on custom colors, and the hex code we want to apply is F0A500. Click OK. And now this will change it to yellow, and we want this one as black. So we'll change this to more colors. Click on custom, and this will be called 191919. Click OK. And we'll also change the color of the text of this one to white. And your pie chart is ready. And now let us customize the column chart. So click on the column chart. Click on the plus sign. And we'll add the axis title. We'll remove the legends. We'll hide all the field buttons. And we'll change the name of the chart title. We'll call this as revenue by order priority. This will be called order priority. And this will be called revenue. And we'll change the color of the bar to black. So select the column. Click on the color that you selected before. And now we'll make changes to the bar chart. So we'll remove all the field buttons. Click on the plus sign. We'll add the axis title. We'll remove the legend. And we'll rename this to revenue by item type. And this will be called item type. And this will be revenue. We'll also change the color. So click on the bars, click on home, and we'll select the yellow color. We'll also add the data labels. So click on plus sign, add data labels, and we'll do the same for the column chart, add data labels. So we need to create 3 KPIs, one for revenue, total orders, and average dollar per order. So we'll use the pivot table to build the KPIs. So we already have the KPI values. Now we just need to insert a rectangle. So go to insert, click on illustration, click on shapes, and then select the shape. We'll add the shape here. So we'll copy this 3 times or 2 times. We need 3 shapes in total. So we'll change the color for each. So one will be gray. So go to shape format, go to shape fill, go to more fill colors, go to custom. Now the hex code we want is BF. Click OK. This will turn into a gray color. Now we want this one to be the black. So this should be in your recent colors. And we want this one to be yellow. This should also be in your recent colors. The yellow one. So now we'll insert the value. So click on the formula bar. So the first value we want is the revenue. So we'll provide the cell reference in the formula bar, which is A2. Press enter. So you want to make this center aligned. Make this bold. We'll do the same for this one. Click on the formula bar equal to, and we want this to be the number of orders, which is going to be cell B2. Press enter. The text for this one should be white color. So change the text color. Make this center aligned. Do the same for this one. Click on the formula bar equal to, and click on average revenue per order. Enter. Make this center aligned. Make this bold. You should make this one also as bold. And now we need to insert the box, which will be the name of the KPI. So go to insert. So we'll insert a text box. Click on text and then click on box. Call this as revenue. Make this bold and center line. So copy paste this twice. This will be called total orders. And this will be called average dollar per order. Now we need to group these two. Do the same for this one as well. Group these two shapes. Also, we'll do the same for this one. The reason we are grouping is now because once you move this shape, both the shapes will move together. So now your KPI is ready. In this section, we will explore how to enhance interactivity in your Excel dashboards using features such as slicers and timeline. These features allows you to interact with the dashboard, filter data, explore different aspects of the data. So slicers and timelines are powerful Excel features that allow you to user to interact with and filter pivot table data quickly and intuitively. They provide a way to select and deselect data points instantly, updating the connected charts and table. Slicers are used to filter categorical data such as product category or customer segments, while as the timeline helps us to filter the continuous data range, allowing user to focus on specific time periods. There are few benefits of using the slicer and timelines. First one, it improves the user experience. Slicers and timelines provide an intuitive and a visual way to the user to interact with data, making it easier to explore and analyze information. It also increases data flexibility. Users can quickly filter data to focus on specific subset by uncovering insight that might be hidden in aggregate data. Connected charts and tables automatically update when the slices or timeline is selected, providing real-time insights. Also, it enhances the visual appeal. A well-designed slicer and timeline adds a professional, polished look to your dashboard. Now let us create the step-by-step slicers and timelines. So go back to Excel and we'll click on the pivot table, item type, click on insert, click on timeline, click on order date. And now this will give you a timeline slicer. So we'll change the color from this to gray. Since we don't have the gray option, we'll create a custom style. So we'll right mouse click on this and make this as duplicate. So now we can create our own template. So we'll call this as gray timeline. We'll select selected time block, format this, select more colors, custom, make this as BF, 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 click OK. Click OK. And we'll select unselected time block. We don't need to change anything here. Then we'll select selected time block. We'll change this to more colors. We'll make this as BF, BF, BF. Click OK. And now we'll select this slicer or this timeline. As you see, it has changed the color to gray. Now we need to add another slicer for country. So we'll just select this pivot table, go to design or go to pivot table analyze, click on insert slicer. And then we'll select under dim location, we'll select the country, click OK. And we'll change the color this to gray, which is this one. And now we need to connect all the tables to these slicers and timeline. So we'll click on slicer, click on report connection. And you want to select all the pivot tables. So if you filter or if you select any of the country, it will filter the data for each and every pivot table. And also it will reflect on the chart as well. So click OK. We'll do the same thing for the timeline slicer. So go to timeline, click on report connection. expand this and select all the pivot tables. Click all of them and then click OK. Now if you select any particular year or month, you will see the numbers will change and the chart will also reflect that change. Now all the components of the dashboard are ready. Now we just need to assemble it. Now that you have created the pivot tables, pivot charts, and added interactivity with slices and timelines, it's time to assemble all the components into a cohesive Excel dashboard. An effective dashboard layout should be intuitive, visually appealing, and optimized for the user's needs. When assembling your dashboard components, consider the following design principles. You want to prioritize the information hierarchy, place the most important insight and the KPI in the prominent location, use size, colors, and position to guide the user's attention to key elements. Next, you want to maintain visual consistency using a consistent color scheme, font family, and sizing throughout the dashboard. Align elements to create a clean and organized look. You want to maximize the white space. You want to avoid overcrowding your dashboard with too much information. For our e-commerce dashboard, we'll arrange the component as follows. We'll copy paste all the charts, slicers, and KPIs into a new tab and organize all the visuals as shown below and insert a text box with the text called Revenue Dashboard. So we'll call this tab as Pivot and we'll create another tab called Dashboard. And now we'll copy paste all the charts, KPIs, slicers, timeline slicer, copy and just paste it here. And now we'll reorganize this tab. So first we'll place all the KPIs on the top. So we'll place this over here. And we'll place the third KPI over here. We'll put the country slicer over here. We'll expand this. We'll put the pivot chart slicer here. We'll place the column chart over here, right next to the pivot, right next to the pie chart. And we'll place the timeline slicer on the bottom. And we'll add the bar chart on the bottom. We'll minimize this. And we can expand this. Now all the elements of the dashboard look organized. Now we just need to add the text box. So go to Insert, click on Text, click on Text box. We'll just add it on the top. And we'll call this as Revenue Dashboard. Put it center aligned. We'll make this as bold. And now we just need to change the reference for this from cell A2 to, we need to reference this back to the pivot table, which is in pivot chart or in pivot tab. So we'll reference this in cell A2, press enter. Same thing for this one. We'll make sure this is bold. And again, reference this from C2 to pivot tab C2. Reference it to pivot C2, press enter and make this bold. And now if you filter, you should see these values also change. Previously it was referencing to this sheet, all the cells. That's why when you click on any one of the countries, the data would not filter because we had the incorrect reference. Now we'll go to the View tab and remove the grid lines, formula bars, and headings. Now your dashboard is ready. Now you select any particular country or select for any particular years or months. So if I select, let's say 2014, this will filter the data for that particular country and that particular year. Or you can just select clear all, for which you will see the data for all the countries and all the years. So there you have it, your tutorial on creating dynamic Excel dashboard. And before you go, I have a special offer for you. If you found this tutorial helpful and want to dive deeper into mastering Excel, check out my free Excel course. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips and tutorials. And drop in the comments below if this video was helpful to you so I can create more videos like these.